Hi guys, my name's Rob. Welcome to video 24 for the Decentralised Everything Facebook group. Disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. So today I wanted to talk about some macroeconomics, in particular the British pound, the British bond market and the British economy, and 5 reasons why I think that Bitcoin is one of the products that can help the world get out of this economic mess that we're all facing. So lately there's been a lot of news about the UK economy, the British pound trading to its lowest level ever against the US dollar, the near collapse of the British bond market. Just for reference, the UK economy is the 6th largest in the world and the British pound is the 4th most traded currency in the world. So what has actually happened in the UK? The first thing we have to understand is, how do centralised governments make their money? How do they raise revenue? And the vast majority of how governments raise their money is by taxing their citizens. So every time you go to work, at the end of the week when you get your paycheck, a certain percentage of the money that you've earned will go towards the government, and this is called income tax. An indirect method that they use is by taxing the goods and products that you buy. So every time you go to the shops or every time you put petrol in your car, the tax is already within the price of that. And depending on where you live, in Australia it's called GST or goods and services tax, and in the UK it's called VAT or value added tax. Other ways is by the government issuing government bonds. So what exactly are these government bonds? It's essentially an IOU. So a third party on your behalf can approach the federal government and say that they've got multiple clients who wish to lend some money to the federal government. Let's call it 50 grand. The government says, yes, thank you, we'll take that 50 grand. And part of the terms and conditions are that the government will pay you a yield every month for lending that money in the first place. And when the bond matures, they will pay you back the original 50 grand, which is the principal. And depending on where you live, in the UK these are called gilts, in America these are called treasury bonds, and in Australia they're simply called government bonds. So it's basically debt. Every time a centralised government issues more government bonds, it's selling off debt. And throughout financial history, well-advanced countries such as the UK and Europe have been considered a very safe investment to buy government bonds. That's why insurance companies buy them, that's why pension funds buy them, because the UK government is hardly going to go broke, right? So it's no secret that the UK and the rest of Europe are experiencing the worst energy crisis in living memory. So to combat this, the UK government issued a lot more of these government bonds trying to raise more revenue, and the extra money would be spent on easing the cost of living. However, this policy has dramatically backfired. Liz Truss, the former Prime Minister of the UK, actually resigned yesterday. Global markets interpreted it as, if the UK government floods the market with all these bonds, all that's going to do is put inflation up even higher. The UK pound, the British pound, dropped to its lowest level ever against the greenback, the US dollar, and the Bank of England was forced to step in and buy up these British bonds to stop them from going to zero. Remember, these are people's pension funds that are tied up in these bonds. So how does Bitcoin come into all this? Well, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin in circulation. No one can flood the market with more Bitcoins and therefore devalue the price of Bitcoins. It's transparent, meaning that you always know where the Bitcoin is going and where it's come from. There's no borders, so it doesn't matter if you're from the North Pole and I'm from the South Pole. As long as you've got the internet connection, I can still send you Bitcoin. And there's no central bank controlling the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is true financial freedom.